My life as a part-time reseller keeps you busy. I still have to work a job. I have other things I do in life, but I'm trying to build up this business part-time as I can, hoping to bring in a nice part-time income and pay for some school expenses and other project expenses as well as bills. So I've been kind of doing this part time for the last few years. I got into it during our COVID years in 2021, although I've always kind of periodically sold a few things on eBay that I didn't need anymore. But tried to start to make a profit on resale, and I really got into dolls because I bought them and decorated my office with them when I was stuck at home for COVID. And so I learned as much as I could about dolls, and I'm still learning. But dolls are an interesting resale opportunity if you know what you're looking for and you can find the right product. There's always people that'll try and lowball you, but you gotta just keep increasing your knowledge in dolls. Occasionally I'll buy something else like these chopsticks or art. I tried jewelry for a while. There's a lot of competition for that. But as I said, I do like dolls. And certain ones sell a lot faster than others. You know, these are some of my larger Laugh Aloud dolls. I just picked up some of the Ken dolls. A lot of the Ken dolls sell a lot better. I think this is an SRS doll, SML. This is some of the newer big-eyed dolls with the colored hair. People are starting to really get into. And I have a couple rainbow highs, monster highs. These are my old Ginnies. These are getting a little harder to sell. But I have all kind of different dolls I've been working on, and honestly, for a while, I kind of got attached to them. And then I decided, well, I've got way too many. But to have their nice faces to see every day when I was stuck at home really helped. And so I kind of understand why people get into collecting dolls. Now, like I said, I'm a part-time seller, so I got a lot more work to do to kind of build this up because I only have so much time to source and to list. But you got to stick with it. Here's one of the problems with some of these old Jenny dolls. The head is like coming off because the string on this one is wearing out. So you may have to repair some of these or just put them in the do not sell pile, your dead pile. Again, you know, every brand had different ones, so you learn. Like some of these are the porcelain ones that they had the strings. Usually Jennies are pretty nice. They're pretty solid. They last. But the porcelain ones had the string. But you learn a lot as you do resell. And the other thing I'm starting to get into now is postcards. Some postcards I picked up. I'm trying to learn that niche. But you gotta have room to store it. And right now, I've got some of these boxes out. Here's my scale, one of them. And I've got to really make this a lot cleaner. The bulk of my doll collection that I'm working on reselling is here. I probably have over 600 dolls. And that keeps them real nice and clean and safe until it's time. But I still have some more room back there. I could probably get some of the boxes in when I'm ready. But when you resell, you got to have some place to do it. And right now I'm in my basement, but not really liking, the way this is. So I've got to figure something else out. But I have a thing that has light. It's a little light box that I can stage the doll in if it fits. Or I have like a bigger white background and my table and a chair, because your back's going to hurt if you don't have a nice area to work. And these are my piles of things that I got to start working on listing. But hoping to turn this. So like I said, I started off doing a lot of dolls, a few different items. Now I'm going to look into doing postcards. I do art. I find like small pieces of art sell pretty well if you know the kind of art that people are looking for, although it's very individual, taste-wise, a little bit harder. But if you have a smaller piece of art that can ship fairly reasonably priced, and it's nice, and it's not cracked or ripped or falling apart, or if it's in a frame, it tends to sell well as some of the dolls. But those are some of my niches. I didn't do well with housewares, house goods. Although I'm going to try this. This chopstick kit. It's like brand new. What a shame. Like somebody never even used it. So I'm going to sell that. But, it's a lot of work. And I work a full-time job and I do other things. I do some school and, life obligations. So you kind of have to be motivated and keep going with this and build it up slowly. This is one of my old paintings. It's a reproduction. I got that for $15. It's completely framed. Just amazing. My little haunted doll. She's not really haunted, but she was painted that way. So that is my part-time resale business that I work on the weekends or at night. And I just do it slowly. It's just something I'm trying to build up. But it takes time, and it takes time to learn all about your products that you're trying to sell, what's a good price, what people are looking for, and of course the packaging. Trying to figure out what's the most economical way to send things. So these are my envelopes that I'm going to use to start mailing out postcards once I get those listed. But the other thing is save all your boxes. Anything you get, save it. The other thing, for when I sell some of my books, what I found interesting was I got these sleeves that people use for clothes, these mailers, and I just use 2 of these for my books and ship it through the post office, and it's just done real nice. Like I just fold it up so it fits the book size and double wrap it so it's nice for the book, and it's very easy to ship that way. Just put the label on. So that's the other thing, learning your shipping supplies as well. But like I said, I'd like to clean up this area and make it a lot neater. Once I get some of this stuff listed, that will happen. But it's just a slow process, and when you work and do everything else, you can't build it as fast or go out and find things as fast. But keep going. Don't quit. Even if you have to clean out things in your house first before you go out and buy new stuff to sell, that's the way you should do it. And you should try not to charge things on a credit card with a high interest rate to build your business. Start with things in your house. stuff that you don't want anymore, and keep that money to source for some new stuff, and go slow. Learn your niches. Like I said, I do dolls, art, postcards, an occasional find like this, books. And I'd like to learn a little bit more about glassware, but what I'm finding too is a lot of these thrift stores are catching up to resellers, and they're getting very expensive in their pricing and competing with resellers. So you got to do a lot of research before you buy stuff to see what the pricing is, and if your thrift store is really too expensive, which I don't think is fair. You know, they get a lot of that stuff free. They're not buying it. And the whole thing is to provide the thrill of the thrift. And I'm helping also that these things don't go in landfills. I get them to people around the country or the world, to people who collect these items. You know, so not everybody's going to be at my thrift store finding these dolls that want them. They might be in a different part of the country. So I feel pretty good about, like, you know, getting some of this stuff for resale. I don't like clear out the shelves because there's obviously probably some kids that would like some of this stuff. But, you know, I do pick some of it up and I resell it. And sometimes, too, the moms, you can tell, are out buying batches or lots. And it is still cheaper than buying it new. So I don't feel bad. I don't really buy clothes. I know a lot of resellers make a lot of money selling clothes. I do feel bad about that because there are people that need to buy clothes that are reasonably priced because they're, you know, they don't have the money, and you got to have clothes. So I don't do clothing, but I know there's a lot of people that do, and they are very successful at it. But I'm not going to judge because maybe they still get it to somebody who needs it at a cheaper price than if they bought it brand new. And a lot of these clothes resellers tend to also probably buy things that are on clearance that aren't moving and get it to people around the country who need it at a cheaper price. But for me personally, I don't like doing clothes. Some of the other stuff too, I like doing unique old items. Like I have a barbershop kit, or I might find some old antique, but even that stuff's getting a little harder to sell. Not everybody's into it. You know, it's tends to now be like the mid-century, and a lot of the glassware and the dolls and the postcards and other things that people collect. But and like I said too, I tried jewelry, and jewelry has just got a lot of competition. I found the only way I could sell jewelry is if I put it in like a big jar, and so people felt like they were getting a lot of different costume jewelry for a good price, which they did. And then it tends to go. But there's just so much jewelry out there, I kind of don't do that anymore. But anyway, that's my part-time reseller business that I'm working on building. And hopefully I can build this up to a nice income, and maybe in my retirement I could do this full time. I don't know. But for now, my goal is to pay some bills and to help out with school expenses and to, you know, make back the money that I spent on some of this inventory. So start out small and build it up, and don't get discouraged if you're a part-timer for years, because that's what I am. I look at it as a learning opportunity, and I'm going to go slow and try and learn everything I can to do a better resale business. Plus, I also am trying to improve on my accounting. You know, keep every time you get a receipt, write on that receipt what was bought and put it in a spreadsheet either that day or the following day. Don't wait, because when you do sell it, you need all that information to determine how your business is doing and for taxes. And if you wait on your accounting, or you don't have a good system to mark the receipt, when it comes time to actually understand all that, you're not going to remember what receipt goes with what. So you need to write down, what you bought on that receipt, and you need to input that into a spreadsheet. So this year I'm trying to get a lot more disciplined on my accounting. The other thing is, one last thing is, when you start off as a reseller, you get attached to some of the product, and that's just natural because you didn't have any of this stuff, and it's cool, and you keep some of it for yourself. But you got to try and like limit that. I know a lot of people that keep the jewelry for themselves, like keeping the dolls for themselves. There's going to be a phase when you start off as a reseller that you do that, or they're keeping like stuff like this for themselves. And you have to get a lot more disciplined. You'll go through that phase where you're like, wow, this is a great find. I could use this. This is cool. I'm going to keep it. I like it. And, I'm going to not sell it. And that hurts your business because then you've bought all this inventory that you're keeping for yourself, which is understandable. You're going to do some of that. But after a certain point, you have to get disciplined and say, I'm not going to do that anymore. What I buy for resale is going to get, put out there for sale. So that's the beginning. And like I said, I'm going to be a part-time reseller for a while. And it's okay. I'm learning and I'm trying to improve my resale capabilities in business every year. And maybe at some point I'll be very, very profitable and I can grow it bigger. But you need to have an area to store things. If you could sell smaller things like the postcards, it means less room that has to get taken up in your house. And I wouldn't go out and buy a storage unit until you're ready for that and you're making good income. So you have to not only just have some money to buy stuff, but you have to have an area to store stuff and store it well in plastics or boxes where it's not going to get wrecked or damaged. And you'll have to learn all about the shipping supplies and accounting and taxes at the end of the year and all kinds of things that go along with a business. You have to treat it like a business. But, when you first start out and you don't know what you're doing, a lot of mistakes get made. So it's all a learning process. I don't think I've ever met a reseller that just took off in a year and was making a 6-figure salary. And there could be somebody, I just haven't seen that. It's a process. It's a hard business. But once you kind of get into it, you love it because it's like a treasure hunt. It's like looking for treasures and trying to turn it for a profit and trying to get independent and provide your own income. But you do have to put the time in and the sacrifice in the beginning. And we can't all quit our jobs and just do this. It takes a while. It takes a while to build. That's why you should start off part-time in your home. You should watch as many videos as you can and learn from other people and do your research and learn niches a little bit at a time. But, remember, it's trial and error and education. And you should sell stuff you don't need anymore. Only if you don't need it. Don't just sell stuff to sell it, because then you'll be sorry if you ever need it again. But stuff you don't need or want anymore. And that could get you started with a little bit of funding. And then you can go out and start to source and learn. So that's my part-time resale business, and hopefully I can make more informative videos as I go. Thanks. Don't forget to subscribe.